Are you struggling to write a believable character of the opposite gender? Then you've come to the right place. Writing about the opposite gender can sometimes be intimidating, especially if you've never tackled it before. But with these tips, writing about the opposite gender will be natural to you in no time. Let's get started. Hey guys, Nour here, and welcome back to my channel. For those visiting for the first time, hello, I'm the fantasy author of the novel Divinity Falling. Be sure to subscribe for weekly writing advice videos. So over the years, some of you have mentioned that you struggle with writing the opposite gender, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Besides, we tend to write what we know. So if you're writing about the opposite gender, you might not know how to tackle it because it might be something that you're not an expert at. That's normal, but writing about the opposite gender doesn't have to be complicated. Just follow these tips. Tip number 1, consider men or women you know in your own life. Even if you don't have a lot of male friends or female friends, you should still have parents, teachers, cousins, or neighbors of the opposite gender. How do they behave? How do they speak? Now, I'm not saying you should be creepy and watch people with binoculars, but when you're around them or see them in the wild, how do they act? And what are they like? Using real life people as a basis for writing the opposite gender is a great place to start. Tip number 2, don't complicate the opposite gender. Often, when writers don't know how to tackle the opposite gender, they start stereotyping. They'll write a girly girl or a masculine, muscly guy, but you don't need to do that. And in fact, you shouldn't. You're overcomplicating the process, and that's what's making your character come off as unnatural. Instead, write the opposite gender just as you would your own gender. Now, I'm not saying that you should make a small girl able to lift 200 pounds. I mean, there are women who could do that, but that's not a common thing. What I am saying is that both males and females often behave similarly. Both enjoy good food, both watch similar shows, both can be silly with their friends. So don't overthink their behavior. Sure, there are differences between the two, but the basics are the same. Instead of your character wearing boxer shorts, they might be wearing panties. And instead of putting on mascara, they might put gel in their hair. Those are the minor differences, but the basics are the same for both males and females. Also, don't forget about non-binary characters who don't identify with either gender, or trans characters who don't identify with the gender they were born as. Their basics are the same too. I won't really give character-specific traits you could write for these characters, as that's still an area I'm trying to learn myself to accurately represent all people. However, if you have any trans or non-binary friends, consider asking them about their experiences, or maybe have them read over your character and their behavior. Since these groups are working toward more representation in media, it's always a good idea to double check and make sure you're not accidentally pushing harmful stereotypes. And if you're still not sure how to tackle the opposite gender, here's what you could do. Tip number 3, read books written about the opposite gender, preferably by an author of that same gender. This can be a great guide into how to write the opposite gender. So that's all I have for you today. I'd love to know, do you have a hard time writing about the opposite gender, and how do you tackle it? Let me know in the comments. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I put out weekly writing advice videos that will take your story to the next level. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media to see what I'm up to from day to day and to chat with me. And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Frayne, Alan J. Early, and Noah Kovanti from my shout out tier over on Patreon, as well as all my amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate you. And remember, Nour for president.